This request came from both Chaos Kateriano 7 and Dark Amulet on what if Chichi became a Hakaishin, a request wild enough to fit only this day, though still one in which there'll be some logic behind it. To set the stage, Whis being displeased at Beerus' irresponsibility has him consider a new candidate for successor, noting the Super Saiyan who defeated Frieza, heads to Earth during the 3 years preparation for facing the Jinzo Ningen. It's here where we see an argument between Goku and Chichi over something trivial, perhaps the driver license filler, that has Whis assume that one capable of striking fear into a Super Saiyan, and with a mindset of strict order, may have the potential to become a worthy Hakaishin. He then introduces himself and his intent, convincing Chichi that this is a win-win situation in attaining the strength to protect her family, as well as having the Hakai card to play in arguments. While Goku's group continues as usual, beyond being forced to make very basic meals, Chichi is taken to New Namek, where Whis requests Muri unlock her potential, something the current Saichoro should be capable of based on Dende's words, and doing so as soon as he learns that this is Goku's wife. The next step is going in the same room of spirit and time as Beerus tutored Goku in for her to reach her natural limit, though very unprepared for the gravity or climate that made it something even Goku would treat as a last resort at this point. The determination that makes even Goku back down would have her master the gravity and draw as much power as she can over 10 years inside, with Whis bestowing the eternal youth of a Hakaishin to her. Though not drawn out all of her potential, it's enough that he sees it as worth tutoring her on Beerus' planet. This causes Beerus' sleep to be disturbed, with him being both angry and Whis going behind his back in choosing a successor, and choosing one nowhere near his standard. Though her fiery personality and her at least having surpassed Frieza makes Beerus consider that she may make a good agent of destruction for the time being, and a perfect candidate to try and learn Ultra Ego. On the 9th of May, age 767, Chichi requests to return home and aid her family. Beerus objects to her shaking her duties, but Whis reminds him the successor in Universe 11 acts as a part-time hero, and their mortal rating is greater than Universe 7. Chichi arrives just as Goku is getting his energy drained by 19, and immediately turns the latter into scrap metal, to the shock of everyone. Gero attempts to flee, but this causes Vegeta to make his move and intercept him, destroying him before he can use the terrain to his advantage. Trunks arrives and requests Chichi come with him, as she may hold the strength to save his world, while also informing the Dragon Team 19 and 20 aren't the ones he warned of, with the twins proving no match for Chichi. As it takes 3 years for the time machine to be refueled though, events in History 1 go on without them. Cell's time machine is found, with Piccolo fusing with Kami when noting Chichi showed how strong one can become, and that he can't fall behind. Getting the information out of Cell, with Piccolo and Kuririn destroying the entire lab. Not letting it slip that 17 and 18 were there, Piccolo devises a plan, once Goku recovers, to teleport him directly to Cell when he's draining someone. He is unprepared for how strong Cell has become though, with Goku bringing Piccolo to the Shinden once Cell breaks his neck, and immediately decides to go into the room of spirit and time with Gohan. When they exit, Goku draws Cell out by releasing a small level of ki that convinces Cell he is fighting either 17 or 18, this being a trap to lure Cell out and destroy it. Vegeta then goes into the room but is unable to reach Goku's level as normal. Goku gets Dende and revives all of Cell's victims, with peace returning. It's then that Whis checks up on the situation, and, when learning of the time machine, seeks out Shin for him to use the time ring to get to Trunks' timeline. He then informs both Chichi and Trunks that time travel violates the rules of the gods, but is kind enough to inform Trunks of Cell when knowing Cell's inability to time travel would create a paradox to splinter this future off as an alternate timeline anyway, and Trunks prevents Cell's further growth. Goku is very willing to let Gohan study, but requests being able to learn from Whis when seeing how strong Chichi has become. Their schedule alternating between one looking after Gohan and training under Whis. Sporadic as it may FunsexyDB, Goku ends up as strong as in the Buu arc, as well as unlocks Super Saiyan 2 and 3, but isn't deemed worthy to learn any godly techniques when neither a candidate nor deemed worthy yet by Beerus. Chichi, on the other hand, has become capable of mastering Ultra Ego. Upon learning of the Tenkaichi Budokai's prize money, Chichi decides to enter when seen providing for her family as more important than her destructive tasks, with her taking Mighty Mask's place, though shocking everyone by erasing Idasa's mother out of annoyance, when taking some influence from Beerus's habits. Speaking of Mighty Mask, Goten will be treated much like Gohan, without the events of the Cell arc being a wake-up call for Chichi, with he and Trunks not being quite as strong as usual, with less playtime together, despite still being fairly impressive to Gohan. Chichi refuses to go with Shin to Babdi's ship when wanting to gain the prize money, and with Vegeta's stunted character growth without future Trunks' involvement, causing him to be just as desperate to surpass Goku, events at Babdi's ship go on a similar route, except maybe with Goku stepping in between Gohan and Dabra, while Chichi wins the Battle Royale. When Vegeta challenges Goku though, Chichi steps in and erases Vegeta out of anger for what he did to the bystanders. She then jumps into Babdi's spaceship, but not warned of Dabra's spit, she's turned to stone. This is enough to make Gohan snap, with enough rage fueling his power to unlock Super Saiyan 2 and get rid of Dabra when as strong as he'd normally be at the end of the Cell game with his rage, foiling Babdi's plans. It's then that Chichi reflects on how this power has caused her to act rashly, especially once learning her attack on Vegeta would have destroyed his soul, and, for the sake of her family, as well as knowing the hatred Buruma's family must now have for her, exiles herself to Beerus's planet, to fully learn from Whis how best to control her mind and body. Shin also has Gohan taken to the Kaioshinkai when impressed by his display against Dabra, and the events inciting Gohan to become stronger, eventually getting his potential unlocked. Having spent a few years napping, Beerus wakes up at a point he normally would, with the Super Saiyan God Dream, wondering if Goku can become one, despite being very impressed by Chichi at this point having put in enough effort and focus to master Ultra Instinct and Ego. With the events involving Tarbell having occurred, Buruma wishes for him to be brought to Earth and complete the ritual, and the Battle of Gods goes as usual, with Goku being accepted as Whis' student even sooner, Goten either visiting Beerus' planet with him or staying at Capsule Corporation with Trunks every now and then. When Frieza returns, sparring with Chichi and learning further godly tenets from her has allowed Goku to master Super Saiyan Blue, making quick work of Frieza before Sorbet can cause trouble. Beerus demands Chichi take the spot Vegeta would have at the tournament against Universe 6, and, although not objecting to Piccolo winning against Frost due to the latter's disqualification, Piccolo being too worn out to face Magetta causes her to sweep through the remaining competition. Unfortunately for future Trunks, never going into the Room of Spirit and Time has him lagging far too far behind to have any chance against Dabra, with Majin Buu eventually being revived. Zamasu's jealousy at the power of one not yet fully a god causes him to become Chichi Black, who faces Buu, eventually angering Buu enough for him to perform a Bunrei and go into his evil form before absorbing Black. It's by this point that Zamasu intervenes. When his immortality is shown off, Dabra spits on him. Buu takes advantage of the chaos to get behind Babidi and crush his head before doing the same to Dabra, eventually destroying all life in the universe, including Broly, through destroying Vampa. When angry at there being nothing left to eat or do, his scream goes through the dimensions and allows him to slip into the closest one to him, Universe 7's other history at the corresponding date. Before that though, the Tournament of Power occurs, with Universe 7's team being Chichi, Goku, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, Piccolo, Kuririn, Tenshinhan, Mutenroshi and Yamcha, with Chichi seeing the bench warmer as preferable to bring back Frieza. Though the kids haven't trained enough that they not do much other than join the Earthlings that aren't Chichi or Roshi in the benches. Chichi's power, as well as the advancement of Goku's training, having him already be close to unlocking Ultra Instinct, make most of the competition irrelevant. Damon proves more dangerous without 17 to find him, Jiren, but Jiren's concentration causes him to eventually stop this surprising threat. Chichi prevents Gohan tie-in with Kefla, and is able to take down Jiren with some help from her husband and son, being glad to be a family together for this short time. Chichi considers reviving Vegeta's body and soul with the Super Dragon Balls, but Whis' training has her realize the bigger picture beyond her feelings of guilt, as she revives the other universes before returning to her duties. The events with Broly, Moro, and Granola don't occur beyond Granola still making a wish in order to not be under the Hita's rule, and Superhero goes near enough the same, beyond Cell Max's composition being fairly different with how less famous Cell was. After this, Chichi watches Goku test how strong Gohan's become, with Chichi feeling content her son has done so well to balance battle and family, finally feeling ready to return with them to Earth. Humbly apologizing to Buruma, it's accepted, with Buruma having time to grieve and understand Chichi's lack of foresight and her guilt, as well as see her saving the universe from erasure as payment. At some point, Beerus decides it's time to make her an official Hakaishin, as he retires to eat delicious foods and wait for Goku to become his ideal rival, with Chichi doing her best to keep Universe 7's mortal rating up, while spending time with her family. She also gathers the Super Dragon Balls in order to revive Vegeta and fully rectify her mistake. Assuming nothing major comes up in Super going forward that would impact all this, Pan eventually becomes a martial arts instructor on the tenets of Ki, as in Dragon Ball Online. It's sometime after age 796 that a portal opens up that brings Majin Buu into this timeline, before being confronted by the Son family, who attempts to absorb each of them, though Goku and Chichi are able to quickly destroy the pieces targeting them. Gohan and Goten end up absorbed, their power having become far greater when sparring with their parents. This causes Buu to be able to fight Chichi and Goku together, before Goku feigns being absorbed in order to free his sons. Chichi erases Buu and is glad to have done her job without losing any loved ones. It's in age 801 that Goku passes away, though Vegeta doesn't leave with him as in DBO, when acknowledging he's been away far too long to catch up, and has retired to being a family man. This has Chichi realize she'll outlive all her family, and requests Beerus and Whis relinquish the eternal youth given to her, so that she can live naturally with her family. Seeing that there's no arguing with her, they accept, with her actions motivating Beerus to take his job more seriously. Chichi retiring from battle, content at how things seem. It's through what was little more than an April Fool's what if that we see what would happen if Chichi's mix of anger and well-meaning intentions went from a gag to a genuine threat that connects to the lessons the series teaches towards the use of power, in line with its Budo Taoist narrative, through a character arc of hubris, guilt, and redemption. Thank you for having watched through this what if. As always, request one or a Dragon Ball analysis in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss them. Check out this playlist of older what ifs, and I'll see you next time.